If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm in search to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? Oh, the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
Now, here's your host, DJ Host with the Most.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. I am your Snap DJ, your host with the most, and we've got a lot to cover, as usual. We had a patch today, which brought us some long-awaited news if you are someone who enjoys cosmetics. And we also got some changes and stuff like that, but mostly like just VFX and things. We have an OTA coming up on Thursday, which many people think we might have a very recent card release changed. At least that's the rumors and stuff that are going around the Snap community. Also, we've got another new card. We've got Mr. Fantastic in zombie form, that is out today as well. So lots to talk about as usual. We're in just the second week of this new zombie month. And as always, I have a lot to cover today, and we will go over that in just 1 second. But I do have some breaking news before we go into any of that. And there's just been a couple of little developments overall. Number one, I have applied, thanks to Glazer, to the creator program. So that's the Snap Creator program. And I kind of really, I did once before, but it would have to be like early this year. And of course I don't stream, so I really didn't think I had much of a shot. And I, of course, never heard anything back. I didn't even get a response, which I'm not really surprised at that, because I'm sure like the computers and everything that they have looking over the applications and things just pick out certain things, numbers, whatnot. And so, I know that, the YouTube channel only has like 600 in and around there subs. I'm not over 1,000 and stuff like that. So if that's, if the criteria is that, which it very well could have been, then of course I didn't really expect it. So, but yeah, Glazer and I were chatting, and, I just remember I was telling you guys I was going to ask him, about how he was doing giveaways. And stuff like that. And then he replied to me about the creator program. He said that they're kind of looking for more people to do it. They're looking for like smaller creators to do it and things like that. So I thought, yeah, why not? I'll give it a try. And so I did apply. It is different. The questionnaire that you do was a little bit different. So I don't know. We'll see. Wish me luck. I don't know. Again, if I'll still qualify, because most of my content is on audio, and that's where most of my listens occur, because I don't put this part of the podcast that you're listening to now, I don't have that on my YouTube channel. I don't do that live. At one point I was, but I don't really do it live anymore. So that's part of it, I guess. But yeah, so anyway, it doesn't, you can't do anything unless you try. So we'll see. Maybe there'll be some news coming out of that. The other thing is I, of course, have guests. So I have people that are coming on the show. I've got Burb, who will be on the show. I've got Lauren Whatevs, who will be on the show. And I've got Kieran Nimbus, who will be on the show. So all of those are lined up to be on. It hasn't exactly gone how I had hoped for it to go, because things happen. Life happens and stuff like that. So I had to kind of postpone some things, but I promise they will all be on. Most of them within this weekend and next will be on. So it could be a lot more content from my channel in the next week or so. What else? I think that might be it for the news. I am going to incorporate one more thing in the Dazzlers lyric challenge part, which, by the way, no one got. I think I stumped you all, but no one got that, and I'll tell you what it was in a minute. But I'm going to incorporate my music pick of the week. So I'm going to give you guys what I'm listening to now as a recommendation, because I'm always listening to some kind of music, and it's just a big part of my life. I always was a big music fan from when I was a young man, listening to my parents' records and albums and stuff like that they had. We always had a record player in the house. We always had music in the house. My mom listened to the radio all the time and things like that. And I just grew up with it. So it's what made me a fan of it. So I'm going to give you my pick of the week. And I have one for you this week, a brand new album from a band I've been listening to for probably, it has to be at least since COVID. That I kind of got introduced to them, and they are I'm a big fan of this band. It just kind of hits on all the things that I like in a band and in music itself. The music itself just takes me back to a time a time in my life where I was much younger. A lot of nostalgia with it and stuff like that. So I'll tell you about that at the end of the show with the lyric challenge. But we're going to get into all the normal stuff on the agenda today. We have, of course, in the spin. One of the things I'm going to talk about is, are we getting too many repeat characters in game? It's a topic I've seen people mention. Not everyone, because, listen, people just love the game. A lot of players love this game because of the fact that it's a comic book based, not based, but it's based on comic characters. It's based on Marvel heroes. So they just want anything they can get. But I do see a lot of comments on the socials and things like that, kind of alluding to that, that the characters are being repeated. Obviously we had the Fantastic Four First Step season. We're getting another Spider-Man season. So, are we getting too many repeat characters? So I'll address that. And also we're going to take a quick look ahead. Now, I'm going to be going over all of today's data mines. It was patch day, of course. So whenever there's a patch, there are data mines. And we got cards from the from the December and the January season that appeared in those data mines. So just a little sneak peek, because I'm going to be talking about data mines specifically with Lauren Whatevs when she is on the show, which is going to be on Tuesday. We're going to be talking in detail about those data mines and the upcoming seasons. All I will tell you is that we're getting a Weapon X season in December, which I know a lot of people are going to be hyped for that. Obviously one of people's favorite characters in all of Marvel is Wolverine. We got a Wolverine game coming out for PlayStation, which looks really, really good. And a lot of people just love the character. So having the Weapon X characters and story in there. Speaking of which, a repeat character, we're getting a card for Wade Wilson in that season. So Deadpool himself will be in there. Talk about repeating. But yeah, so we got that coming up. And then it looks like in January, we are getting some sort of dragon season, or it could be Shang-Chi related. It could be something, maybe they'll call it like the 10 Rings or something like that, because there are things data mined for different like characters from Shang-Chi and stuff like that. So that's maybe what it could be. They really haven't announced it yet, but it could just be dragons, because there are a lot of dragon cards. Fin Fang Foom, of course, one that's been long awaited is in there, and there's others as well. So Yeah, so Lauren and I will talk about them, but we'll just take a quick little sneak peek there in the spin. Then we've got the request line. And again, thank you to all of you. I put out I have questions this time. I asked you guys some questions in that. And it is basically what you would like to see non-card wise come to the game. So things that you would like to see come to Marvel Snap that are not particular cards or card types. And then the second part of the question, and third part second and third, favorite and least favorite Halloween candy. Because, hey, it's spooky season. I've got my big Halloween party, my friend's party that I go to every single week. Every week. I wish it was every week. I love Halloween. Every year. He has a yearly Halloween party that one of my favorite things to go to. And I have my costume in mind. And he's making it an 80s theme, which he'll have his house decked out with 80s horror stuff. And my costume is going to fit perfectly with that. So I'm looking forward to that. That's next weekend. But yeah, so I figured why not ask some questions about Halloween. So your favorite Halloween candy and your least favorite, because everybody's got one of those ones where when you were a kid, when someone gave it to you in your Halloween bag or however it was you were getting candy, you were like, and you'd give it to your parents. So favorite, least favorite. And then the other question in there was your favorite horror film. I mean, spooky season, it's time to watch all those horror movies. I've been watching them on Tubi. I saw that Netflix has the Halloween from 2018 on there again. And then AMC will be having their Halloween marathons, which I absolutely love. You'll get a marathon of Halloween. You'll get a marathon of Friday the 13th. You'll get marathons of Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street. Saw, I think, even had a marathon on there at one point. So, Texas Chainsaw, all those ones that have had sequel after sequel after sequel, will be on there. So, and then of course, even video games are getting in on the act. Call of Duty has, Jason, which is very weird. I was watching someone play it and Jason's carrying a machine gun. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird. So I don't know. It was, it's a little bit bizarre. I can't play that game, even if I would want to. The motion sickness and stuff like that I get from first person, I could never ever play Call of Duty. But Jason's in that. He's also apparently in Fort Nightmares, and that's another game I don't play. I just never got into Fortnite. I tried it a few times, but I was terrible at it. I didn't really get the gist or kind of understand it as to what you were supposed to do. And I'd end up hanging around in certain places for too long, and then that little sphere thing will just collapse around me, and I'll be out of the game. But yeah, I mean, it's cool they're incorporating Jason into stuff. I'm pretty happy for that, just to see it. So I'm glad about that. But anyway, that's going to be on the request line today. Then of course we'll get into Marvel Snap Talk. We'll talk about where I am so far on the ladder. I'm in a pretty good spot. I got kind of a fast start. Obviously, I started at 75 because I finished at Infinite. So I got a pretty good start with it. And I'm still pretty much playing the one deck. Switched up a little bit to another, but I'll talk about the decks that I'm playing and where I am on the ladder and things like that. Of course, we'll go over variants and stuff too. Then we've got Zombie Mr. Fantastic that we'll talk about. Now, again, as I mentioned before, some of these just are not in comics. So most of the information that I will have on Zombie Mr. Fantastic will probably be from the cartoon, the animated series itself, like we did with Scarlet Witch. So we'll discuss that. But we'll still go to the Marvel Unlimited app. And we'll look to see what comics that I'm reading and my pull list of books for the week we'll talk about. Then, of course, we have the MCU Minute. Wow. Comic-Con. Nobody really kind of thought they were going to have much of a presence at Comic-Con, especially I did. I think I mentioned that on the show last week. I wasn't expecting anything more than comic stuff itself, which is cool. But boy, did we ever get some news from Comic-Con, especially when it concerns Marvel Television. So a lot of stuff about Daredevil. Huge surprise on stage for Daredevil. And then a trailer was shown for Daredevil as well to the audience there, which of course leaked online. And then, of course, they talked about the trailer for Wonder Man, which I had mentioned over and over that we haven't gotten yet. Well, we did. And that's kind of divided some people. Some people thought it looks kind of fun. Some people thought it's like, ugh, this looks like it's going to be a big nothing burger. I guess I'm kind of a little bit in between on it. Of course I know who the character is. I think it looks like it might be clever. They incorporated comedy and stuff into it, but we'll get into that in the MCU minute, and then whatever other news is out there for that. So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, at the end, we will have the Dazzlers lyric challenge, which, by the way, like I said, no one got. I think for the first time in weeks. And the song was by Journey, and it's a song called Suzanne off their Raised on Radio album. And again, I'm not surprised no one got it, because it's not it wasn't a hit for them. It wasn't a very popular song like Journey. I mean, everybody knows Journey for Don't Stop Believin' and other things. But this was definitely not a hit by them. They did do a video of sorts for it. But I always kind of thought, if you ever get a chance to listen to it, do, because it's a great song. But I always thought it would have been a cool song for them to release, because I thought it would, it has that kind of catchy late 80s vibe to it. And I always kind of thought it would have been a good one for them to release. But they did not. The album has a special place in my heart, because it leads me back to a time, it was released right around the time I was graduating high school. And so it just brings back a lot of memories of me listening to the cassette player in my 1969 Monte Carlo that my father bought for me as my very first car that I ever owned. 1974 Monte Carlo. Yes. Rust colored, a lot of power in an engine for a young kid. But yeah. So it brings back a lot of cool memories for me. And that's kind of why I always liked it, but go check it out. It's a fun song by Journey, and kind of really at the height of their popularity. They were very, very popular back then, like 87, 88. It was, coming off of, the height of their popularity. So, all right. So that is where we're going to get to. So let's get started. And, we're going to get to the DJ spin first. So, before we go into the look ahead, and we'll talk today about we'll talk about today's patch as well, because there's a little bit to chat about there. But let's talk about the thing about people saying that there's too many repeat cards in Marvel Snap. Just this past week, on Twitter, I had seen at least another 4 or 5 comments to that effect, saying that we're getting too many repeat cards. People are saying, second dinner, why so many repeat cards? I think I even saw it on their Discord as a question. Someone posted saying that I feel there's too many repeat cards and things like that. So I can see a point in a way, but that said, I don't think that that's the case. I mean, the Fantastic Four season was done because of the film. Clearly, it was done because of the film. And the film, that's kind of why they have 2 separate cards. The film characters are quite different. The powers are similar, but they're quite different. They look different than the characters in the comics. So, we're talking about Marvel coming out with a film in Doomsday and then in Secret Wars, where you're going to have a whole bunch of different universes and things like that. In comics right now, I've told you guys one of my favorite books is Ultimate Spider-Man and the Ultimate line. That's a completely different universe than Earth 616. It's completely different. So they can go different ways with stories, and I really don't mind it when they do it in the game, because there are just so many versions of these characters, but yet they're all quite different. Like, for instance, in Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter Parker is much older, and he's married to Mary Jane, and he has a child. And so it's a very different future for him and a very different look for him. So, and Uncle Ben is still alive. And so they go different ways with it. And that's, I don't know, it kind of makes it fun. It makes it a little different. And DC does the same thing. So they have to kind of do that in comics because it varies things up a little bit. And it would get stale if they didn't, I think. So I think the same thing goes with Snap. And I get it. People are saying, well, we're still missing a ton of cards that they haven't made yet, which is true. And I'm sure that they will get to those. I can name a bunch. I know, like I want a Machine Man card. I've said that for the longest time. So there are characters that I want to see. But I'm sure down the road we will, and I'm sure we will get most of those cards, that are out there at some point before this game ends. I'm sure we'll get a ton of all the Marvel cards and seasons and things like that. Now, again, I know that, people are going to say this kind of stuff because they're seeing some seasons like the upcoming Spider-Man season that are just, they're repeats. We've had Spider-Man seasons before. And so, but again, when you look at the Spider-Man stuff, if you looked at the data mines that we're getting newer cards that we haven't seen yet. We're getting a card for the Prowler. We're getting a card for Chameleon. So but the thing is, there's just so many people in Spider-Man books because, Spider-Man, one of their most popular, if not their most popular, it probably is their most popular superhero. And, it's kind of like Batman for DC and Superman, right? Like you're going to have tons of characters from those books just because of how long they've been around. And over the years, how many different villains that Spider-Man has had and how many different team ups has he had and people that were in the comics with him that he's had. It's an immense amount, and they can just keep doing over. They could probably do a year on just Spider-Man stuff. So you have to come to expect that we're going to end up getting variations of a theme in the game. We're just going to get that because of how long these superheroes have been around. We're more than likely going to get an Avengers season at some point. We're more than likely going to get, and there's already data mines for other Guardians cards. We may end up getting a Guardian series because that team has changed over the years so many times. They've had so many different members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, I don't, again, it's not something I mind because I'm a comic book reader. I can understand why people may say it. And why people may ask about it and wonder why we're getting repeats. But I would probably bet that if you are one of those people, you just may not have a lot of history with comics. And maybe you don't. There could very well be people that play this game a ton that have never read a comic book. And look, I get it. My daughters haven't. And they've gone to see a lot of these movies, and that's where they get their enjoyment for Marvel from is the films. They've never picked up a comic book probably in their lives. They might have leafed through one or something like that, but they're definitely not avid comic book readers like myself. So, so I can understand it. I can understand it coming from two different points of view. Personally, I think it's okay. I don't think we're getting too many repeats. I think that it's, it's fine. I know I was happy with the second Galactus, specifically because that Galactus gets played, which is kind of nice. I see him in a lot of decks, Galactus First Steps, whereas the other one really doesn't because there's so many conditions that you have to meet to get that other Galactus to work. It's almost like a sneak attack with that one, whereas the other one kind of plays more into what Galactus is because he's coming, right? You see that the other person now has that herald out. You see Galactus gaining power. He's coming. That's kind of more as to what the Galactus lore is that he forewarns people. He doesn't just appear and blow everything up. That's kind of not how Galactus would be looked at. So, like I said, sometimes they'll make improvements in the cards that way. They'll think about how, hey, we got to design this card again. What did we kind of not do with the original one that we can do with this one now that we're making a second card? And I kind of think that was the thinking going into Galactus First Steps. So, Yeah, but there's that. And I mean, let me know what you guys think, obviously, about that topic. If you're adamant about the fact that you think we are, let me know. I would love to hear from you as far as that goes. You can leave me a comment, all the normal spaces. Leave me a comment on the podcast that you're listening to. Leave me a comment in my Discord, both my own Snap Judgments and in Glazers, or in Snap Judgments Discord. I have my own spot. In there under Snap Decisions, I have my own Snap Decisions Discord, or you can just hit me up on the socials, whether it's Blue Sky, whether it's X, whatever. Hit me up on there and let me know. All right, so the second part of this is the quick look ahead part. But first, before we do that, let me go back into the game and let me pull up the patch notes from today, because this was, we knew the patch obviously was coming, just as we know there's an OTA coming. We get those dates ahead of time. That said, I don't think anybody kind of expected necessarily what was coming on this particular patch. A lot of people asked about it. A lot of people wondering about it. It's become a kind of a sticking point for many people. And in the fact that, they were asking about it and they were wondering what was going on. But now we got an answer. And so it's kind of cool. Like, again, I don't really think people really were expecting it from today's notes, but let's take a look. So this is patch notes from today. So features, changes to finishes, flares, and infinity splitting. So again, we're looking at cosmetics. And this is something, like I said, that's been kind of a sticking point for people ever since they did the changes to character mastery. And they said, we know that chasing certain finish and flare combos when splitting are really important. We also know that certain finishes and flares introduced by character mastery make that harder and don't often result in a desirable combo. Bananas. bananas, and snow. Snowy bananas. Yeah. So that goes without saying. In order to improve on this, we're making the following changes to how certain finishes and flares behave moving forward. The team has plans for further changes to character mastery down the road as well. Well, that's good to hear. That's been a sticking point. A lot of people have been asking for this because it is pretty discouraging and pretty silly that this banana stuff happens way more than it probably should. So that it's kind of about time. It says banana finish and banana flare and water finish and bubbles flare. So they're the two culprits. Are granted as an equipable combos once both items in the combo are unlocked via character mastery per card. So now they're equipable combos. So you can put those on or take them off. So it's not just a permanent part of the card, is what it reads like to me. But have not been split as a combo yet. Then the combo will, wait. Let's see. Wait, hold on. I might have lost the individual banana finish. Okay. Banana finish, banana, and water finish are granted as equipable combos once both items in the combo are unlocked via character mastery per card. Neither piece of content enters the infinity split table when unlocked. If the individual banana finish and banana flare or water finish and bubbles flare items have been unlocked prior to this change, but have not been split as a combo yet, then the combo will be granted retroactively and both items will be removed from the infinity split table. Each item can still be equipped individually via custom card. All previous splits, including these flares and finishes, will be retained. Snowflake's flare and frosted glass finish are granted as an equipable combo once both are unlocked via character mastery per card. Snowflake's flare does not enter the infinity split table when unlocked. Frosted glass finish does not enter the infinity table when unlocked. If the individual Snowflake's flare and frosted glass finish items have been unlocked prior to this change but have not been split as a combo, then the combo will be granted retroactively. So same as the banana stuff. All previous splits, including this flare and finish, will be retained. So, I mean, that's an answer to a lot of people's question. Kind of making fun of those splits and saying that, oh, gee, I got another banana. So, look, this is a good thing. And it also says that they updated some visuals. So several finishes have had their visuals updated. Fire, Galactic Storm, Frosted Glass, Psychedelic, and Water have had their visuals updated. So a little bit different visuals coming into play. Gameplay stuff, we've updated how staging works for move cards like Nightcrawler. The game will now more intelligently pick which effects to use up first. So moving Nightcrawler away from a location where you have Madam Web will only use Madam Web's effect, and Nightcrawler will still be able to move later on. Well, that's good. Gambit will now discard a card, even if there's no enemy card to destroy in play to destroy. This aligns with other effects functionality. Oh, so if you play Gambit and they don't have a card, you're going to lose a card. Interesting. Sakara the location will now resolve cards based on which player is revealing cards first to align with other effects. Scorn got a text update to align with Apocalypse. No functional change. The old Scorn was a 1-2. When you discard this, return it to your hand and give +2 power to itself and one of your cards in play. The change is when you discard this, put it back and give +2 power to itself and one of your cards in play. Then we just got some bug stuff. Issue with the Eson Creative House Pocket variant. Infinite James Ryman variant. Spectrum Mech variant. Morgan Le Fay by James Ryman variant. Snowguard Bear at the KVCH location are now fixed. Welcome pop-up for the card shop. Cards are no longer cropped. Token pack spacing has been adjusted. Visual issue with players receiving inaccurate tokens during initial card shop introduction animation has been resolved. And this is all just quality of life stuff, I think. Yeah. So that was really it. Not too much, but they did address the cosmetic stuff. And again, it's something else that a lot of people have been asking about and wanting to change. So again, what that shows me is they are listening. As many times they do say on the Discord, like Glenn will mention something that it's being worked on. And I know the first thing that goes through people's minds when they say things like that is, yeah, they're working on it. Sure. We'll never hear about it. But look, designing games and stuff like that does take time. You can't just focus on all different things at once. Things do take some time. So with that, you got to be a little understanding that it does take time. I mean, for example, let me take a sip of my Diet Lime Coke, by the way. Diet Coke Lime. I found it in a store today. It's out for a limited time. And I can remember having lime Coke when I was quite young. That may have even been around during the saccharine times, even before NutraSweet came out, which goes to show you how old or long it's been around. But I was surprised to see it came back. It's a limited time only, but I do like it. It's good. Gives you that like little, you got that little twist of lime thing kind of going on in there. It's pretty good. But anyway, the game that I was talking about to you guys that I might think about game streaming at some point, which is that Halloween game that got announced, the movie Halloween, that's going to come out next September. Now it was announced almost 2 months ago, and they have set a date for next September. That's well more than a year. So you can see, now that's a full-blown video game as opposed to just a mobile game, but still, you can see how long these things take to develop and how long it takes these guys to do stuff with these games. It just doesn't happen overnight. And so, you kind of do have to understand that it's a process, and it does take long to do that. So, but anyway, that's good. So the next thing we will see from Second Dinner will be the OTA, which will be coming out on Thursday. So be interesting to see where that goes. One of the things that I will say, which I think is going to probably happen, is that, and I know I heard this same thing from Alex Kocha today on his video review of the new card, Zombie Mr. Fantastic, and he was talking about how he feels that this is going to be, that it's going to be buffed. And I would maybe tend to agree. They don't usually mess with cards that quickly. But in Alex's opinion, and I kind of share it a little bit as well, is that it really doesn't seem to be overwhelming right now in a way that is affecting the game. I've come up against some of these zombie decks, and I'll tell you, I've beaten them almost every single time. So if people are playing certain cards, all it takes is a well-placed Shadow King. If you put a Shadow King in your deck, which a lot of them are, I mean, that Sauron list that I'll mention during during Snap Talk, that's got Shadow King in it. A Sauron list with Shadow King. Because that's all it takes. You hold that Shadow King until the end of the game for that zombie horde. Boom, you hit it, it's a 0. So it's just not overwhelming right now. And so I would kind of think that to move it along a little bit, if they really want to get things moving, that, I do think they're going to probably have to do something with Scarlet Witch and make her just better. Now, we are going to get that other card is coming up with, we're getting the Sanctum Showdown. I think that's tomorrow, actually. So we're getting that, and they are going to give us that new card that's going to also go along with the zombie stuff. So they're giving us more and more. You know, Mr. Fantastic, he's kind of like the other 2 discard cards, Mr. Fantastic does add to the horde, but he's not really, I don't think, necessary for a horde deck. He's more a guy that you want to put in a deck that has like Victoria Hand, because he's buffing all of the created cards. So you kind of want to have him in a deck like that. He's not necessarily that important for the horde. So we'll see how the OTA goes. I would also think that they might be having a look at Invisible Woman first steps, because that deck is just crazy good right now. It's back to where it was, and it might be better than what it was before. So, but the deck is just very, very good right now. And so that might be another one that they take a look at, but we'll see. All right. We are going to move on here, and we're going to get to the request line. So the request line, like I said, I threw out these questions, and Sanctum Showdown, by the way, October 15th. So your favorite mind-bending location dominating. I mean, I could read this. You know what? Let's read it like an ad. Brings me back to old style DJ, times when I'd read the radio ads. Your favorite mind-bending location dominating limited time game mode is back. October 15th to the 22nd on the Daily Reset. This event features exciting new rewards, including the brand new skill card, The Hunger, to keep feeding your horde. This run of Sanctum Showdown will also include a new 7-day premium event pass for 800 gold, which includes an exclusive variant and a bunch of bonus value. The Hunger is available in the middle of the free rewards portion of the event pass, and we expect the average free-to-play player to be able to unlock it. As you earn charms playing Sanctum, you'll unlock the rewards on the event pass. You can also spend those earned charms in the shop for extra rewards. There you go. You got my ad voice. So that starts on the 15th. So look out for that. Okay. Here we go. We're going to get to, now remember, the questions were, what would you like to see added to the game non-card wise? And then what was your favorite and least favorite Halloween candy? And what's your favorite scary movie? You have to know what that's from, right? Even if you haven't seen a lot of horror films, you kind of have to know what that's from. So, all right, here we go. These are the replies that I got for the request line. Thank you to all of you who have replied. Okay. First off, we have Ree from Snap on This. It's just Ree. For question number 1, which is about the game, I would love if there were more reasons in Snap to play against or with friends. It doesn't feel great to spend time in friendlies when there are missions to do, modes, and ladder to grind. Even if it was just allowing missions to be completed that way, I don't care if people cheese missions that way. Who cares? Still work to coordinate. Yeah, I like that. Why not? The only way you have to play against friends is to create a game, right? And I think I've honestly, since that's been out, other than playing in Snap Judgments League and using it for tournaments, I think I've done it maybe twice. In the whole time, I think that option has been there. So yeah, that's an interesting suggestion. And, yeah, when you're kind of talking up a game with your buddies and your friends and stuff like that, one of the things you try to do is you try to end up getting them to play the game because you like it, right? But, you could kind of sometimes show them how to play by playing a game against them or with them or whatever the case might be. And there really isn't any of that in Snap. So it's, yeah, it would be kind of cool if there was something like that. I think that's a great one. Lauren Whatevs, who's going to be on my show. Number 1, unranked mode. Or if that's too similar to past conversations, I'd love to see more ways to express myself in the game. Avatars, borders, title colors, custom half of the board, whatever. Okay, yeah, I like that. I think we need that kind of stuff. We'll get to this in a little bit when I tell you what mine is. But yeah, I would 100% I would agree with that. I do think that we need a new game mode though. I agree with that. And I like Lauren's idea of a non-sweaty kind of new game mode, where, you can play where there's no stakes. Kind of like Deadpool's Diner just was. And she had mentioned that. So yeah, I think that would be great for the game. Just some place to go where you can get away from ladder and get away from the competition. And even Conquest, like I told you guys, Conquest is sweaty too, which is ridiculous that it is. But yeah, we'll get back to Lauren in a minute for the other questions because she did answer those as well. All right. Next up, I have Adam Starr. Adam Starr is awesome. He's been on my show a couple times. Fellow big-time comic book fan. I know this shouldn't be how it is given the number of cards released each season, but they need to bring in major missing characters. Too many dupes and alts. So that goes back to the conversation that I just had. And, yeah, I would agree, to an extent. I don't, I understand why they're doing it, but that doesn't mean that it should be done. And there are a lot of major characters that are still missing, from Marvel Snap that they could certainly have been putting in or filling in by now. So I agree with Adam Starr with that. And we'll get back to him as well for the other questions. Blue Sky Snapper on bluesky.social says more deck slots. Oh God, please. If they're going to make adjustments, one adjustment to this game, I mean, my goodness, let's do this. Let's get us deck slots. For goodness sakes. You want to move the in-game economy. People will even spend their gold on deck slots. I can guarantee you they will. I guarantee you they will. They will spend gold on deck slots because that's how badly people want them. So I don't know what the holdup is. I know that somebody asked Glenn about it. And Glenn responded to say that it takes more work than people would think or something along those lines. But my gosh, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to take like a complete like redesign or something like that to just get like some extra deck slots out there. I don't know. I don't know if maybe it's the design of the actual game board, where it has to be made bigger and it would take too much to do. I have no idea what the holdup is there, but man, oh man, between deck slots and there's another one that people mentioned too, in here that I've thought about several times before, but oh my gosh, if there's one thing in a card game you want to do is you want to have a lot of room to make deck slots or to make decks. There's a bunch of people that love to cook decks, and just put together a whole bunch of different things. and they just can't because they don't want to start deleting all these decks and everything like that. So yeah, this is something that's been talked about for a long time, and I really wish this is something that they would incorporate into the game. All right. I got this one from Twitter. This is from Nekopawa1. So Nekopawa1. I think every rank floor should have a different game board. Oh, that's cool. Plus, we should have a game board based on the season. Oh, no doubt. This is a great one. There was a time when we saw what a different game board would look like. I think it was when they did their developers map. They had a picture of the Savage Land as a game board. Now, what happened to that? That would have been so cool. Like I said, I don't know how sick and tired of you are of looking at this asteroid, but I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of looking at the same old game board all the time. I mean, I know it's something you don't pay a ton of attention to because you're looking at your cards and things like that, but it's still a seasonal one like for Halloween would be amazing. Could you imagine like having vampires on there, like for Blade, or having the swamp for Man Thing, or it would just be awesome. Halloween game board, Christmas game board, 100%. 100%, I agree. Jerome says, I would like to have extra deck slots and other backgrounds. Yeah, it's no doubt at this point. No doubt on both of those at this point. So, yeah, for sure. On both. Voltron Pilot from Blue Sky, voltronpilot.bluesky.social says, at this point, I'm actually willing to pay for new game boards. Yeah, and you really shouldn't have to, but again, I don't know. I know that it was there, like the picture was there. We all saw it on a developer map, but it must have just gotten scrapped. And I don't know why something like that would be so hard. But I'm not a developer, so I can't answer that. I don't, maybe it is. Maybe there's just too much work to put into it. I don't know. The last thing people are going to want as a mobile game is for the game to go down, right? So whether, if they were to patch this kind of stuff in, would it take the game down for a day or two to get it all set up? Is it something they just can't patch in without? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I know it's definitely, and here's another one. This is from Reviews from the Tub, says definitely a new game board and a couple deck slots. So very, very, very similar. I like to change styles and I hate making a new deck or try something because I have to delete one. Yeah, for sure. We shouldn't have to do that. It's definitely not something that we should have to deal with in the game. Is that you can't even have the amount of decks that you want. So that I would agree. That's probably a lot of people's number one. If you would ask most people about what is missing from this game, I think that's probably a lot of people's number one. So, all right. Let me see if I have any more, and then we'll go on to the next question. My allergies are kicking in. Every time at the same time when I do this at night, my allergies kick in. All right, let's see what else we have here. Okay, let's get to the second question, and that is favorite Halloween candy, least favorite, and then we'll go to scary movie. All right. Favorite candy for Lauren is Butterfingers. I enjoy Butterfinger, but you know what I like better? And it's an older candy bar. That's probably why I like it better. Is Fifth Avenue. They're essentially the same thing, except for there's a lot more peanut butter. Well, no, I think there's a lot more peanut butter kind of crunchy stuff inside of a Butterfinger. They're thicker. Butterfingers, to me, though, the chocolate on them, especially if they get a little older, on the older side on a shelf, they get a little waxy. The chocolate isn't very good. They get a little kind of waxy. But Fifth Avenue, I always liked. And that's a Hershey branded one. But if you never tried a Fifth Avenue, again, very similar candy bar. But I like the chocolate on Fifth Avenue is a little bit better. But again, you're going to see a lot of this is going to be what people grew up with. And again, I grew up with Fifth Avenue. That's the kind of candy bar I had before Butterfingers even became a thing. So, and her least favorite is Dots. Now, I will say this about Dots. I like Dots, but only if they're fresh. If you get a box of fresh Dots, oh my God, they're amazing. They melt in your mouth. They're soft. They're chewy. Now, if you get a bad box of Dots that are stale, that have been out there for a while, kind of resting on the shelf forever, they're terrible. They stick to your teeth. They're hard to chew. They are awful. So 100% on Dots can go either way. I've had boxes that are stale, that are awful. I just want to throw them in the garbage. But I've had boxes that are amazing, that are just soft and they melt in your mouth. So, Twix and Reese's are better, but Butterfingers, I like. The one I appreciate more on Halloween because I'll always buy Twix or Reese's first at the store. Reese's Cups. So many people like Reese's Cups. I like them. I like Reese's peanut butter eggs. The ones that come out they come out for everything now. They used to just come out for Easter, but now they come out for everything now. They're for they put them out for Christmas in the form of a tree. They put them out for Valentine's Day in the form of a heart. They just do any excuse to put them out for every holiday. The thing with Reese's, right, is they're gritty. The peanut butter is gritty. I always liked soft, melt away peanut butter. That's kind of what I liked. You like Gertrude Hawk, right? You go to a Gertrude Hawk around here, candy store and stuff like that. You get like what they used to call peanut butter meltaways, and they would have, peanut butter that would just kind of melt in your mouth when you would eat them. And I found a candy, oh my gosh, now I'm going to forget the name of this. They're a relatively new company. The wrapper on it looks like it's kind of cartoonish in color. But they make a whole bunch of candy bars. They make these peanut butter cups that are to die for. The chocolate is amazing. And then they have that like melty kind of peanut butter inside. They are so good. Reese's, don't get me wrong. I will eat a Reese's and I'll enjoy it, but they are just a little bit gritty. Ree says Butterfingers is the best candy by far. OFC. Twix is number 2. Reese's may be a distant third. Listen, Ree is obviously not the only person that loves them. Butterfingers are huge. A lot of people like them. Twix I like. I always did. I always like Twix with the caramel and the cracker. I just think it's just a good combination of different things. Just from a purely objective standpoint. Adam Star says Sour Patch Kids. And candy corn is the grossest. Tootsie Rolls are also awful. Yeah, the regular chocolate Tootsie Rolls, no. You want to talk about like eating a waxy thing that tastes like a little bit like chocolate and not really even that much. It's just sugary. But yeah, I would agree there. Never a big fan of Tootsie Rolls. I like the fruit flavored ones better. They make fruit flavored Tootsie Rolls. I bought like a bag of them. They just, I don't know if they were around, but they used to be around when I was a kid. You get like orange ones and lime or green ones. You get, to me, they were better. I like those better than the chocolate ones. The sour stuff, while I could eat it, I was never a huge fan, like Warheads. Sour Patch Kid, like stuff like that. I was never like a huge fan of the sour stuff, but I know there are a lot of people that are. To me, I think that soury, sugary stuff that they put on there just hits me too hard when I first put it in my mouth. Like you get it on your tongue, and it just like gives you that shock of that shock of that sour right off the bat, and it's like so. But I get it. I get the appeal. I know people that love sour stuff, and there's a whole line of candy that are out there like that. For the sake of time, I'm going to go over the movie stuff at the same time now, so we don't have to just keep going back. Lauren's favorite horror movie is Jennifer's Body. Okay. Yep. I've seen it a bunch. Got a little bit of possession stuff that goes on in that, so it's kind of borderline for me that where I could watch it, where I can't. Kieran Nimbus says Milk Duds are not a favorite of his. He said they taste like chocolate covered cardboard. Milk Duds again are like it's basically a chocolate caramel, but again they are ones that come in a box. If they're not fresh, they're disgusting, and you could put them in your mouth, and by the time you kind of warm it up a little bit, they get a little bit more, they get a little bit able to be eaten and chewed. But yeah, they were never a favorite of mine either. I think they're more of an old person's candy, which you would think I would kind of like it, but I don't. Blue Sky Snapper says his favorite candy is Smarties, the little things that are in the wrappers. I always like Smarties. They were kind of a derivative or kind of a takeoff, like a smaller version of Sweet Tarts, which, I always enjoyed those. I always enjoyed those. They were good. The least favorite might be plain Hershey's candy. Now, see, I disagree with that. One of my favorite candy bars still to this day is a regular Hershey bar. I don't know what it is. You have to be a fan of Hershey's chocolate, though, because Hershey's chocolate is a little bit of an acquired taste. Now, I'm from Pennsylvania, so the factory for Hershey is in, of course, Hershey, PA. I've never toured it, by the way. I've been to the park many times. And I've been on the chocolate factory ride, but I've never actually toured the factory, which I heard is cool. You can still take tours of the factory and actually see them. And it's kind of Willy Wonka-esque, right? And that's one of my favorite movies as a kid, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I loved it. And a lot of people kind of say it's based a little bit loosely on Milton Hershey and Hershey's, and the Chocolate Factory. But I still, to this day, and it's probably, again, because I grew up with them, but I still love regular Hershey bars. Just a plain old regular Hershey bar. And I'll still grab one. My store that I work in has them, and I still grab them every now and then. I like the taste of it, but I could see if people don't. There is, I'm sure there is better chocolate. I'm sure there are that you can get that tastes much more probably like regular chocolate. But I always like them. The bad stuff is interesting. Things I don't eat any other time. All right. And then we've got Lauren says candy corn rules. Oh, God, no. I definitely do not. I hate candy corn. It's so gross. My sister loves it. We get into this all the time. Around this time of year, too. And she's like, candy corn rocks. I'm like, oh, God, no. It's just... It tastes like waxy sugar. And it's like, I never like when people would put candy corn in my basket. Like you'd go trick or treating, you get to an old person's house and they're chucking candy corn in your bucket. And you're like, oh, but just please stop. I don't want any candy corn in my Halloween bucket. Then you got to clean it out at the bottom. Most of the time I gave it to my mom. She probably threw it away because I don't even think she liked it either. But oh, God, no. Although it is really freaking sweet and will give you a stomachache if you have too much. Sko says, all Halloween candy is good. All in italics. Smarties love them. Candy corn, pass it here. Bit of honey. I'll take them if you don't. There's another one that I would never eat. Now that's a classic one right there. My mom would get those and she loved them too. I was never a fan of bit of honey. I didn't know what they thought that was going to be. I mean, it does, I guess, taste like honey, but I don't know. To me, it's got like a butterscotchy kind of, I don't know. Oh no. Those weird chewy candies wrapped in either black or orange wax paper, can't get enough. Oh, the generic stuff that like you get from the Walmart. You go to Walmart and get like a big bag of Halloween candy, and it has those funky things that are wrapped in either black or orange wrappers, and you don't even know what the hell it is. Weird wax vampire teeth that are possibly not food. I'll eat them. Oh, I love it. I remember those wax lips, right? Lauren says, Necco wafers can F right off. The only Necco wafer I liked was the chocolate ones. And now they make packs of just the chocolate ones. Again, they had such weird flavor. Like you would get one that would be like lemon, or no, maybe it was orange. And the next thing you know, you'd get one that tasted like Pepto-Bismol. Because they would have not only, like, they were just so weird. Because you'd have like good flavors. Like you'd have the chocolate. You'd have the orange one, which sometimes you would think it was orange, but then you would taste it and be like minty. Yeah, I was never a fan of Neccos. I would buy the Necco chocolate, but other than that, no. And they would have black licorice flavor, which is my worst enemy in candy. Anise, no. Black licorice, chocolate, what were they called? My mom used to eat these black licorice candies called Sen-Sens that came in a little metal box. And she would pop those things like pills and love them. Nope. Yeah. I tasted black licorice once and I almost threw up. And I swore to myself, never, ever, ever again. And then there was a time when I got to be older that I went to a bar. And my friends bought me a drink. And they bought me, that my one friend loved this particular liquor called Sambuca. And he said, I'm going to get you a shot of Sambuca. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. What is it? This is when I first turned 21. And I take this shot and I almost threw up. I got it and it was black licorice flavored. And like, oh my, what are you doing to me? Horrible. That flavor is the worst. The worst. I hate it. It's so bad. This is actually my comment back. I said I couldn't remember handing my mom my Halloween bucket and she'd pick out all the candy I hated. Sen-Sens, black licorice flavor, Mary Jane's. Mary Jane's were god awful. Bit of honey, nope. Neccos, nope. She would just take them all because they had flavors in that she liked. Now I enjoy bottle caps. Soda flavored, little tiny things that kind of look like sweet tarts, but they were a little bigger. But they had cola flavor, which is my all-time favorite. Cola bottles, the gummy cola bottles, anything cola flavored, gimme. I am a big cola nut, and I just love the flavor. Sweet tarts I liked. I like sweet tarts. Some of them were a little sour, but I liked them for the most part. Swedish Fish. The grape ones. Oh, you can't find them anywhere now. At least I can. You can order them maybe, but they used to have them in candy stores. I used to go to it. I lived a block away, not even a half a block away from a candy store growing up, where I could walk in there and he'd always have the red fish and the purple fish, and I can get a whole bag of them for like $1. A whole entire bag of fish for $1. They were a penny a piece. But I love the grape ones. Bazooka Joe bubblegum. They used to come a little comic. And I think that's why I liked them, because the gum wasn't very good. The gum wouldn't last more than like a couple of minutes and you'd be done with it. The sugar would be out of it and gone. But I kind of dug it because they used to have the Bazooka Joe comics in it. Wacky wafers. Loved wacky wafers. They were these little disc-looking things, but they had unique flavors. They had watermelon, green apple. Then they came out with like a blue raspberry, I think, somewhere down the road, but I always loved those. And Jolly Rancher sticks. If you're old enough, You remember when Jolly Ranchers weren't those little things in a wrapper. They were made in sticks where you can lick the stick, basically. And they were made in like a long rectangular stick. And they used to have, Jolly Ranchers had awesome flavors back in the day. A lot of them they did away with, but now they're starting to come back out with some of them in the little ones. But they used to have, I remember, they used to have peach, which I've seen in the little ones. So they do bring some of those back every now and then. So I remember having peach, and I remember having lemon. I love the lemon Jolly Ranchers. They were extremely sour, but I loved them. But Jolly Ranchers I loved growing up. And another one was Laffy Taffy. Now, Wonka has that, but it's not the same. The ones that I remember were like a big old stick of taffy. I mean, this is a big old slab that when you got it and they were a little warm, you can take this thing and wind it up into a ball and just eat it. And the other one I'll just quickly mention, and we'll finish this up, is Fun Dip. Fun Dip was like pixie sticks, and it was like kids' cocaine. You give somebody one of these things with you down the stick, and it was just all this sugar powder, or and Fun Dip was the same thing. It was just packets of, now you'd have a pack of grape, a pack of cherry, and a pack of lemon lime, I think it was. And you'd get these two little sticks that were also made of sugar, but tasted amazingly like vanilla. And you would dip them into the powder, and you're supposed to lick it off the stick. That's how you're supposed to eat it. Well, most of the time you just down the packet. And then you'd be on a sugar high for the entire rest of the afternoon and evening, and your parents would be going insane. But they were some of my favorites over the years. So that's awesome. I love it. Let me see if anybody else answered here. Scary movie for Jerron is the first Saw. One of the coolest and best endings to a movie I've ever seen. If you have never seen the original Saw, what are you waiting for? Now, it is gory. So if you don't like the gore, I understand that. That came up with a whole new genre of horror called torture porn. Some people just don't like it because you're really seeing a lot of graphic stuff that is hard to watch. So if you're not into gore, don't watch it. But I will tell you, the ending of that film, just mind-blowing. One of the best endings I think I've ever seen in a movie. Any movie, really. That and Seven are probably the two most mind-blowing endings I think the movies I've ever seen. Voltron Pilot says, Evil Dead 2 is one of the greatest and most influential horror movies of all time. The Evil Dead movies were hard for me to watch. Now, I made the mistake of watching the first one when I was sitting there and eating a plate of canned spaghetti. Not smart. It's not smart. But I've seen them all. Even with my little quirks about demonic possession, which there's a lot of that in those films, I couldn't watch the newest one, and I will not. That's got the demonically possessed female, which is... Exorcist completely turned me off of that. And I'm like, nope. And they say, I love red vines, but I can't stand regular black licorice. Oh, I'm with you there. I like chocolate licorice, the Hershey's chocolate licorice. I also like some of the Twizzlers, like the pull and peel ones now that they have that are different flavors. If I'm going to put up with that nasty flavors, because I'm drinking Jägermeister. Oh, that's what it was, not Sambuca. Sambuca's not the one I was... My friend Mike loved Sambuca, so he would drink it all the time. But I think the one I'm thinking of was Jägermeister. Oh, yeah, God, no. So bad. And then reviews from the tub said the original Halloween, classic. Absolute classic. John Carpenter started the whole slasher film genre with that movie. I still think it's one of my favorite movies to this day. I was too young to see it when it first came out because it came out in 1978. I was only 9. Obviously was not allowed to watch that at the time. But I saw it much later when I started being able to watch those films, like in the 80s and 90s. But it's definitely one of my favorite films to this day. And you know, The Boogeyman was born and spawned many sequels after that. But, yeah, look, it just touched everything, right? The creepiness about it, and this is what I liked about it the most, was that John Carpenter made it so that could, he didn't have a motive. He just went out and killed a bunch of people. There was no motive. You saw his origin story at the beginning from a little boy, but he was just evil. And that's the scariest kind of thing, because whenever anybody sees anything happen in real life, they want a motive. They want, why did you do? But, it's freakier when you plus that mask. Can you believe, and if you guys don't know this, that mask was a William Shatner Captain Kirk mask. That's what it was. And they found it in a costume shop. They painted it white, and that's what it was. It was an old style Captain Kirk mask. So imagine that. But yeah, it's a great film. And he also says Jaws. That's another one. I can watch Jaws over and over and over and over again. And Jaws made people be afraid of the water. When they watched that film, people wouldn't go in the ocean. That's how scary Steven Spielberg made that film. There's an amazing documentary out about Jaws for its 50th anniversary that was this year. And they talked to Steven, and man, did that film affect him. He was terrified of water, and he had to be out on a boat and stuff like that, directing parts of that movie. So if you get a chance and you're a Jaws fan, watch it. It's really, really good. Also love the idea of Freddy Krueger, because he comes when you're most vulnerable. Yeah, in your dreams. Yep, 100% agree. Guys, thank you. That was a lot of fun. I love it. I can relive some nostalgic times when we talk about things like that. And I love it. If there's any other things that you would like to hear incorporated into something like that, again, like I said, hit me up. Or if you didn't get a chance to answer, let me know what your favorites are. And hit me up. I always love to hear from you guys. And again, it just brings back nostalgia for me. And that's a lot of what I incorporate into my show and some of the things that I talk about when I'm talking with guests and stuff like that. And Lauren, whatevs, like for instance, when she comes on, we're going to be talking about our favorite Nintendo games. And if I got a list, many of them lead back to the original NES. Because I spent hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours playing them. Did I say upon hours? So join us for that. That's going to be a lot of fun and a trip down memory lane. And I love that. Absolutely love that. So, all right. Well, look, that is the request line for the week. Thank you for those who volunteered. I think I gave my favorite candy, my least favorite, my favorite horror film. Oh boy, it's probably got to be Halloween, I think. The one that scared the bejesus out of me the most is The Exorcist. And that's why I'm adverse to that kind of stuff. And what they do with it nowadays, it's just, the special effects are just too much. But I watched it super, super young. I snuck downstairs. In my curiosity, my father was asleep on the couch. And I snuck downstairs while he had HBO on, and I watched the entire thing when I was probably maybe about 9. And they even added scenes to that I will not watch. But that's probably the one that I least like. And that turned me off on an entire genre where I just will not watch it. I just don't. When you grow up in a household, my mother and my father were both Catholic. I went to a Greek Catholic church when I was a kid that sang every single mass, the entire mass. And when you are like that, and my mother just, believed everything that was said with the Bible and with all that stuff. And you guys, I'm sure, probably have had, your parents or maybe their parents or stuff like that that are like that. That really, because, they believed a lot of that stuff, right? A lot, like whatever was said, they believed a lot of that, and it makes it that much more scary. So there you go. Yeah, my favorite and my least favorite horror movies. So, all right, we're going to move on and we're going to do some snap talk. And this is the point in the story when the iPad usually crashes. Now, I went in and I adjusted some stuff in the iPad. So we'll see. Maybe I can get this to go through 1 week without having the iPad crash, but we'll see. All right, so let's talk some Snap. And let's take a look at, first of all, where I'm at, if you are interested in that kind of thing. And again, first off, let me say congratulations again to my alliance. Again, with all the rewards. Every single week. Nonstop. It's like clockwork. They get all the rewards. So hats off to the people who finished in the top 3. And that would be Moist Malone, Gigi, and the Black Rose. So great job, guys. Once again, Moist Malone is number 1, Black Rose number 2, Gigi number 3. Great job. They always go out and they kill it and they get all these rewards. And my alliance is full. So again, just awesome job. They chat in there, they communicate, they talk about decks and things like that. So just a wonderful group of people that I have in that alliance. All right. Let's see. I am at 94. 94, 0 out of 7. So I got all the way up out of 75, got to 80, got all the way through the 80s, and I'm sitting at 94. So I should get on the stick and probably get to infinite. Would be the second month in a row. I really want to get the card border because they look really cool. I have it from the collection track already, but I want to get the infinite border because it looks neat. It's just like it's like a generic zombie one. It reminds me of Night of the Living Dead a little bit when they're coming through the wall. So I would like to get that. 90s will be tough. They usually always are. But I have some decks that are doing pretty well. Sorry, I'm stuffy again. The one that I was playing through again with is that Wiccan deck. Now, I'll read off the cards. It's Quicksilver. Now, I did a little bit of adjustment here. I put in an armor. So I have Quicksilver, Armor, Domino, Speed, Mobius and Mobius, Copycat, Malekith, Wiccan, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Lady Deathstrike, Galactus First Steps, and Magneto. Now this was on KM's list, but it does not have the armor in it. I adjusted to the armor because there's so many people playing Destroy. So many decks I was coming across were Destroy decks with the head pool and stuff like that. And if that I can't remember what card I even took out of this. Let me see if I remove the armor from the deck. Let me see what's in here. Now the auto deck builder stuck Goliath in here as a third 6 cost. I don't know if that was in the KM list though, but the armor honestly kind of does double duty for me anyway, because I have big cards in here, but it also stops the destroy stuff, which to play it on turn 2 is many times devastating for your opponent if they're trying to get that whole machine going where they'll put the X-23 and they'll have the Deadpool and then they want to on turn 2, they want a Carnage. Well, you could just shut that right down. And many times you'll just get a retreat. Plus Mobius and Mobius hurts that as well because of the death and not allowing to have not getting the death out there, because you can't have the cards reduced. So Copycat also affects it too because it could tell you could see what they're taking off of their or what they're not going to get. You're going to get the bottom card of their deck. So if that Copycat pulls something that they desperately need, like the death or a null, you're going to have a null that's already started at a 5. So that's a snap condition. But this deck is still winning me games, and it's very, very good against the zombie stuff because of Cosmic Ghost Rider and Lady Deathstrike, and also because of Magneto. So there you go. So you want something that's going to counter destroy and counter the zombie stuff. This is a good one. Oh, I'm sorry. The armor was a Shadow King. The armor is a Shadow King normally. So that's pretty cool. And it's won me a lot. It got me to where I am now. There is a Sauron list, which is also very good. Very good. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, this one was number 1 on KM Best's deck list for the week. This one has Sauron, Zero, Hydra Bob, Shadow King, Iron Patriot, Lizard, Red Guardian, Starbrand, Negasonic, Supergiant, Enchantress, and Red Skull. Supergiant is killing it right now against this meta. Killing it. Again, because of Destroy, because of the zombie horde stuff. These decks will also, like the first deck I mentioned, will absolutely slaughter Mr. Negative. Anytime you can get priority or not, and you get that Supergiant out, it's tough on your opponent. Because they want to be playing on turn 5, on turn 6. You're making them skip an entire turn. Now, sometimes you'll lose, but these are still very good decks. And Enchantress being in this deck after the Supergiant, along with, of course, with Red Skull. But Enchantress is devastating as well with this deck. So a very good deck. The number 1 deck according to KM, and it's just very good. Safety Blade has a new deck that he's been playing, and this one is with the new Zombie Mr. Fantastic. This is Kitty Pryde, Mercury, Zombie Mr. Fantastic, Kate Bishop, Iron Patriot, Merlin, Mysterio, Sage, Rocket and Groot, Zombie Scarlet Witch, Cosmo, and Juggernaut. Rocket and Groot is great if you are opposing someone that is playing the zombies. Because if you put that in that lane, they're going to take damage every single time they're trying to play their kitty and all that kind of stuff on that lane. So just a really smart card to be playing right now. And see what else we have here. The Hawk, the Dark Hawk deck, very big also right now. And again, this is another Supergiant deck. Korg, Hydra Bob, Black Cat, Iron Patriot. How about how Iron Patriot's made a comeback? But listen, if you could just win that lane, and again, many times these horde decks, they're playing that one lane. If you put the Iron Patriot in the other lane, they're not going to want to play it. So you're just going to get a free big card. Quake, well, not free, but a very discounted big card. Quake, Lizard, Cassandra Nova, Terrax, Negasonic, Supergiant, Darkhawk, and Eliath to just finish off a game. Again, this will wipe out the Monty decks. The Monty decks will just quit. They see the Cassandra Nova come down, and then the Darkhawk, they probably know is impending at some point. You're just going to win. Unless they find their Shang-Chi. So, another real good deck. Speaking of Monty, I think I talked about this one last week. If you really want to play this big glut of cards, Iron Patriot, Valentina, Juggernaut, Kahori, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Legion, Agamotto, Eliath, Mockingbird, Isan, Thanos, and Arashim. I've seen some people trying to play Thanos again, which I don't think it's especially strong, but I've seen it. I've seen people playing Thanos Destroy. I've seen people playing Thanos just like normally, but I've seen it. So, and then of course, End of Turn is still around. Something you have to prepare for if you're playing on ladder. Sunspot, Spider-Ham, Hydra Bob, Black Cat, Thena, Bruce, Banner, Havoc, Marvel Boy, Jocasta, Prodigy, Invisible Woman, and Fantastic Cards. Still just really good. We'll see if that gets tuned a little bit. Might get tuned up a little bit. Might be looked at a little bit as far as the meta is concerned. So they are the decks that I have been messing around with to get to where I am. Conquest, I do have all 6 of the items needed to get some of the stuff in the shop. I already have 6 towards the Bishop card. Bishop card's very cool looking. Again, Bishop's not a not played a ton really anymore, but you do see them every now and then in a hit monkey deck. But I'm up to the 6, and then next week's week 3 will be a premium mystery variant, Bishop boosters, and a new title. Chomp, You're Infected will get you that card if you've been playing right along with that. So, and then let's go to the shop itself. Got the exclusive offer for the Mr. Zombie Mr. Fantastic. $19.99. For the low price of $19.99, you too can have a Zombie Mr. Fantastic. I won't be getting that. Venomized variant of Fenris Wolf. I've got some pretty cool variants of Fenris. I doubt I'd be picking this one up in particular. It's quite expensive. 3,500 collector's tokens, a heavy metal border, 2,500 credits, $50. No thanks. Token Tuesday, once again, like it is every week. Not worth it. Not worth the gold. And then there's a premium mystery pack where you get a premium mystery variant and you get 10,000 gold. It's a lot of gold. Is it worth $100? Probably not. In my shop today, we have anime cyberpunk variants, all 1,200 gold. And there's an album for them too. Bastion, Super Adaptoid, all the cards that we've gotten recently. Sparky, Moira X, Awesome Andy, Jocasta, Warlock, and Danger. I doubt I will be getting any of those unless I happen to befall them. But I am not going to be spending any gold on any of those. There's none of those cards which I use a ton. And I already have a bunch of the chibi variants for them anyway. So to me, that's not very good timing on them to put out an album for them. Let's see what's in the album. I'm still missing that damn Galactus. Saturday Night Live years ago. Used to watch it all the time. And they used to have that skit with Mike Myers, or I think it was Mike Myers, where he'd play the woman, I forget her name, and he'd be like, I'm getting verklempt. Every time I see that card, I get verklempt. But in this album, if you get 3 of the cards, you get a premium mystery variant. If you get 5 of them, you get the 4 Neon Knights borders. If you get 6, you get a Viv Vision anime cyberpunk variant. And if you get all 9, you get Jim Hammond Human Torch. So, to me, it's just a recap of the cards we had last month in the form of variants that I think are just overpriced. So, I will not be getting those. Alrighty, let's look at the variants that I did indeed get throughout the course of the week. I'm still all stuffed up. I took a little break because I thought I would be able to unstuff myself, but nope. It's that time of the evening for Joe's allergies to act up. Okay. Let's look at the newest variants that I've been able to... Up! Bum, bum, bum. Had to happen. You knew it was coming. It's the weekly iPad crash. There it is. So, I will take a look at my television, which I have on in the background. What I'm watching is my Los Angeles Dodgers are winning 4-1 in the 7th inning. 4-1. If they win, they go up 2-0 in the series, and they're headed back to Los Angeles. Up 2-0 on the Milwaukee Brewers if they happen to pull this one off. So we'll see. We shall see. Like I said, I'm a big baseball fan, always was. Was a Dodger fan since the start of it. My aunt, I think, was a big Dodgers fan. I think that's why I got into it. And followed the team, but I've been a fan since Steve Garvey played, Davey Lopes, Bill Russell, that classic infield that they had. Who was the other one? Garvey at first. Davey Lopes was second. Bill Russell was short. And Ron Say, the Penguin, was the other guy in the infield. So I've been a fan of the Dodgers ever since then. And I'd like nothing better than to see the Dodgers win this one for Clayton Kershaw, who has announced his retirement at the end of the year. I love Clayton Kershaw. I think he's one of the best to ever do it. And I think he's also one of the best guys to ever play baseball. Just a great dude, humble guy. And I would just love to see him go out with a World Series. It's not something you see very often, but that's what I'm watching. I'm trying to think if I watched anything earlier today while this comes back up. I was watching 30 Days of Night, which, by the way, is one of my all-time favorite comic books. Horror book about vampires. If you like vampires and you've never read it, Steve Niles, great comic. Excellent art. If I'm not mistaken, it was black and white. Great book. And the movie's okay. Pretty good adaptation. But the book is just so much better. So much better. If you haven't read it, do. It's just amazing book. All right. I think that is it for the Snap Talk. Yep. So we're moving on. And we're going to go to look up and talk about and go to Comics Corner and talk about Zombie Mr. Fantastic. So let's pull him up, shall we, and discuss Zombie Mr. Fantastic, if I can indeed find some stuff out about him. Can you hear the clicking of the iPad? Reed Richards, Earth 2149. He is here. And this is his quote. They said it all started with a flash in the sky and a ripple through the clouds. Nobody knows what caused this exactly, but some people think it might be a punch. Was he really that strong? Had the infection made him so determined to get here in search of a brand new food supply? At the time, I said no, but having experienced this hunger firsthand, I'm afraid that I now know better. The Avengers were the first on the scene. Can you picture them? Faces grave, concerned for all those human casualties, that idiot Colonel America, reassuring everyone that everything would be fine now that the superheroes have arrived. What they didn't know is that the infection had targeted superheroes of this dimension and 1,000 realities before us. This was how it consumed. You see, by infecting superheroes just like him and sending them out to infect the others, within 24 hours, we'd consumed the entire planet. One superhero from an infected universe, that was all it took to end an entire world. Zombie Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards. His alias is called Stretch, affiliated with the Fantastic Four and the Marvel Zombies. Spouse is Susan Storm Richards. Children, Franklin's son is deceased. Valeria, daughter, deceased. Family-in-law, Jonathan Storm, brother-in-law, married. Physical characteristics, white eyes, no visible irises. Hair is brown, gray-haired at the temples. Unusual features, putrefied, decaying flesh. His origin is a zombified human exposed to cosmic rays. He is deceased. From Earth 2149. Place of birth, Central City, California. Eaten by maggots was the cause of his death. Summoned by Dr. Doom of Earth 1610. He's American. Zombie is his occupation. Base of operations is the Baxter Building, Manhattan, New York City, New York. His creators were Mark Millar and Greg Land. So this is indeed from the books. Ultimate Fantastic Four number 21, July of 2006 was his first appearance. Marvel Zombies Dead Days number 1, May 2007. And his death was in the Ultimate Fantastic Four number 32 of August 2006. So he is from the comics. Little is detailed about Reed's life before the zombie plague arrived on Earth 2149. However, it can be presumed that it followed much the same path as Reed Richards of Earth 616. Reed and the rest of the Fantastic Four had been out, presumably doing what they could for the city, believing Franklin and Valeria had been secure in a code-locked area of the Baxter building. Fortunately, on their return, they found She-Hulk, who also had the access codes, had been zombified and killed Sue and Reed's children, leaving Mr. Fantastic mentally scarred, as you would imagine. Furious, Sue blew She-Hulk's head up with a force field, informing them of the gathering resistance movement aboard the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier. On their way to the helicarrier in the Fantastic car, they ran into Nova and Thor, and together they headed to join the resistance. Once there, Fury called them all together and explained that it seemed to be the end of the world, and though they may have had differences in the past, they were all on the same side now. While a team was dispatched back to the surface, the Fantastic Four and a few of the heroes stayed behind to try and work out how exactly to stop this thing. Reed was working in a lab on some zombified remains and found the whole thing fascinating, and as he would, that's Reed, and marveled at the efficiency of the creatures. Sue was enraged that he could be so analytical about the things that killed their offspring. Yeah. Later, Sue, Johnny, and the Thing approached Reed once more. However, Reed was still extolling the virtues of zombification and explained that as they entered, he pricked their skins and infected them without their knowledge. The three turned, fell upon and infected a laughing Reed whose mind had obviously broken from what he had seen from the death of his kids. Wow, if you never read the comics. Phew. The newly zombified Fantastic Four found Tony Stark in another lab, explaining to Fury that he was working on a dimensional transporter. They attacked him, and before he could put on his Iron Man armor, he was bitten. Nick Fury escaped and put the helicarrier in lockdown. A thick bulkhead separating the Fantastic Four from the transporter and Fury. Thing broke his way through the bulkhead, and inside the airlock they saw Fury. Doctor Strange, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Thor, who was smashing the transporter with Mjolnir with nowhere to run. The Fantastic Four infected the whole group. Reed then told the others to collect the pieces of the transporter and start moving it to the Baxter building. It was around this point that he and Beast headed to the Xavier Institute and reprogrammed Cerebro to search for uninfected humans. Finding a sizable stash of meat in Latveria and the surrounding area, they and a huge horde of their zombified peers headed off to lay siege to Castle Doomstadt. But only a few of them managed to get through the magical force field protecting a castle. Presumably, Reed gets held up by the risen Deadite Legion, and at some point, returned to New York to continue his work with the commandeered teleporter. Once he had it working, he found another reality, which was in conjunction making surreptitious holographic contact with the Reed of that reality. He projected himself as he was before he was infected, and discovering this alternate Reed was a lot younger, also projected a healthy holographic version of Franklin. He helped the young Reed to build a similar teleporter in his world and invited him to visit. Completely fooled, the young Reed exited the teleporter into a dilapidated and abandoned Baxter building. When he stumbled out of the post-apocalyptic street, the zombified Reed and the other Fantastic Four appeared to greet him. You can imagine how that greeting went. Reed told the younger version of himself of how the plague began on this world, with purple lightning and something falling from the sky, and that within 24 hours, the planet was consumed. He said that now they had run out of food, and they tried to grab the young man, but he managed to get away and fled down the sewers. Fantastic Four went back to the Baxter building. They arrived just as Sue, Ben, and Johnny turned up to find out what happened to Reed. As the zombified Fantastic Four attacked, Sue protected the remaining three of the four with a force field, and they managed to lock their zombified counterparts up. Showing his superiority and experience, Zombie Reed managed to squeeze through the airtight door, grabbed Ultimate Ben, but the young Sue popped a force bubble in his brain and stopped him in his tracks. You can see these are violent books. Fantastic Four were held in a nuclear containment area. designed for the Hulk, and he told the young Mr. Fantastic how impressed he was with the design, but that because he would never kill the zombified Fantastic Four, it is merely a temporary accommodation. Later, Human Torch came to visit Reed in containment and asked for a fast brewing beer recipe, which Reed gladly gave out. Johnny was momentarily suspicious, but Reed explained that he knew how they were going to get out, but they were waiting for the right moment. Apparently, twice a day, live animals were squeezed into containment to feed them. A little later still, he told Ultimate Sue and Reed that the breakout was exactly 1 week. When Human Torch became a host for an end zone parasite, with nearly all options exhausted, Ultimate Reed and Thing asked the zombie Reed to help. So when he appeared to be more interested in Sudoku, young Reed ordered all distractions confiscated. Reed explained that he wasn't too bothered as they were breaking out in a few hours anyway. A few hours later, with the Ultimate Fantastic Four seeking help from Victor Von Damme, D-A-M-M-E, is that John Claude's relation? The zombified FF put their plan in motion. They convinced the guards outside that they had created a teleportation device from a pen, the chemicals from ink, and using a hair as a keyboard. The guards watched as they huddled together, then faded out and disappeared. Panicking, the guards opened the doors and went into the container, but the zombified Fantastic Four had gone nowhere. Invisible Woman had done what she did best and made them all invisible. Clever. Then the freed Fantastic Four slaughtered all the guards. And when Baxter Building was sealed from the 40th floor up, they slaughtered everybody in those levels as well. Though Professor Storm tries to bargain with them, the Fantastic Four had access to the labs and began to create another type of teleporter and brought through Thor and Hulk to smash through the containment shield. Just then, alarms sound warning the Fantastic Four of an intrusion, and they went to investigate, confusingly finding Dr. Doom, actually Doom in Reed's body, coming to save the day. The zombie Fantastic Four attack, Doom extinguished Human Torch, snapped off Thing's arm, and using magic necrotized Stu's body even further. Then Reed stepped up and tried to envelop Dr. Doom, but he conjured up maggots that began to eat through his dead flesh. Finally, the zombified Fantastic Four were dumped through the operational teleporter back into the street of their own dimension. Kind of sick stuff. This is all from Ultimate Fantastic Four. So this is from the comics. Power is elasticity, limited shape alteration. Paraphernalia, the Fantastic Four uniform. And the Fantastic Car is transportation. Trivia. Reed is the first character from Earth 2149 to appear. But in a teaser at the end of Ultimate Fantastic Four number 20 and his initial appearance in Ultimate Fantastic Four number 21, he presented himself like the mainstream Reed from Earth 616. This was a trick to both the Ultimate Reed Richards and the readers. As the covers and arc title of the crossover implied a crossover between the main Marvel Universe Reed and Ultimate Universe's Reed. And then there's a bunch of See Also stuff. References from Marvel Zombies Dead Days number 1, Marvel Zombies Army of Darkness, number 4 and number 5, Ultimate Fantastic Four, 21 to 24, Ultimate Fantastic Four, number 32, Ultimate Fantastic Four, number 27 to 32, and Ultimate Fantastic Four, number 23. So there you go. And now we are going to head over to the Marvel Unlimited and look all this good stuff up. So let's go over to the Marvel Unlimited app. And as you may imagine, this is going to be pretty much like the same list of the stuff that we had from last week, because that's where all of these are. So in here, if you look up Marvel Zombies, you will see Marvel Zombies Dawn of Decay, 2024 to present. That's newer. And then as you go back, you have Black, White, and Blood. These are cool. I like these. They're all written in black and white, which really brings back the zombie nostalgia for those of you who have seen the original Night of the Living Dead, which I have many times, and the remakes and all that kind of stuff too. Walking Dead was a favorite show of mine until it got kind of weird toward the end. But yeah, I love the zombie stuff. Zombies. You know what? I know I asked you guys what your favorite Halloween movie is. If you're listening to the pod, I'm going to give you something to answer for me. So you can comment on the pod itself, on the audio pod, or let me know on Twitter or my Discord, whatever. If you have watched any of the zombie films over the years, what's your favorite one? Tell me what your favorite zombie movie is. We have Zombies Assemble from 2017. We have Marvel Zombies Halloween from 2012. Marvel Zombies Destroy from 2011, 2012. Zombies Christmas Carol, isn't that nice? Issue number 1 from 2011. Marvel Zombies 5, so you could see there's just a ton of comics for Marvel Zombies, a ton. Marvel Zombies 2, Marvel Zombies Dead Days, Marvel Zombies back from 2005, 2006, and that's when it all kind of started. So, and they were paying tribute to classic comic characters with that one. You could see the one where Peter and Mary Jane got married. They do a parody of that. So you could just see like all of these, and of course, Amazing Fantasy number 1 is the very first one of the run. So yep. If you haven't read any of them, you can, I'm sure, find these in graphic novel form, especially now, this time of year around Halloween. You can probably find them in just about any of your local comic book shops. If you have one close to you, if not, you can probably find them in most of the bookstores and stuff too. So, all right, let's go to new this week. I think I'm going to be looking at this for the very first time in the app. We have Astonishing Miles Morales Spider-Man, issue number 9. Now, these aren't all books I read, but some of them I will tell you I do. Magic, I've been reading a lot. Very good. It's like a horror book. I like it. Issue number 7, that's up to. We have Wolverine and Kitty Pryde is up to issue number 4. The Marvel Swimsuit Special. Whoa, issue number 1. They do those every year. They have these every year in the summertime, and you can see how this is back a little bit. This is like 3 months behind the new books that come out on the stands. Uncanny X-Men number 17, Red Hulk number 6. I have been reading that. Fantastic Four 2025. Now, this is another one that's just starting over at issue number 1. Let's see who's doing this. This is Ryan North, Humberto Ramos, Victor Olazaba, Edgar Delgado, Joe Carmagna, and Tom Brevoort. So this is a new era, it says, for the First Family. Fantastic Four return with new issue number 1, kicking off a whole new volume of their adventures through time, space, and the human condition when the Fantastic Four take on Doom. Things go well until they suddenly go catastrophically wrong, and they're sent to 4 different eras of Earth's history. Alone and isolated in wildly differently time periods, Reed, Johnny, Ben, and Sue all have to fight to survive. Their only hope is to reach the Forever Stone, a mass of dense granite that happens to be one of the longest-lasting rocks on the planet, which, through a combination of obscurity and raw geological luck, has both stayed intact and accessible for most of Earth's history. Also featured in this extra special issue, Ben Grimm fights a dinosaur. No other comic dares to feature the Thing battling several Mapasauruses, but that's just where we get started. And it's all brought to life by the incredible new series by artist Humberto Ramos. So there you go. I'll be reading that for sure. I like all the Fantastic Four books. Legacy of Vader, up to issue number 6. That's about Kylo Ren, following the events that happened in The Last Jedi. If you are a Star Wars fan. Laura Kinney Wolverine, 2024, issue number 8. Astonishing X-Men Infinity comic, that's exclusive to the app, issue number 40. Superior Avengers, up to issue number 4. Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, that's the one with Miles Morales. That's part of the Ultimate books, which are ending soon. Issue number 2. Miles Morales Spider-Man 2022, issue number 35. That's up to. Doctor Strange of Asgard is up to issue number 5. Predator, Black, White, and Blood. Ooh, I'm going to read that one. They do have they're doing stuff with the Predator, and they had him crossing over with some of the other comics, but this is going to be cool. The Black, White, and Blood ones are really cool reads. I've read some of the Star Wars titles. They did a Vader Black, White, and Blood that's really good. It's Jeff Halloween, issue number 1, and in Marvel Rivals Infinity comic, issue number 23. So light week for new books in the app this week. But of course, trending is that new Captain America, which I told you guys last week is fantastic. And I still have yet to read Machine Man issue number 2, which I got to get back to. And One World Under Doom, I'm like midway through that. So I'm So that is what is in the app. So go check that out. If you don't have a comic book store near you, it is $9.99 a month, and you get access to all of these titles plus all of the older stuff as well. All right, guys, we are getting into the end game here, and we're going to go to the MCU minutes. And man, did we get some news from Comic-Con that I wasn't expecting, I know. I don't think anybody else was either. But man, a lot of news coming from Comic-Con. Of course, comics you'd expect it for, but not with the MCU stuff. But the MCU TV made an appearance in a big way, so we'll get to that in a second. But first off, if you are into DC, because we do a little talking about DC on this pod, Doomsday's real origin is revealed, and it changes everything. Superman's worst enemy is his greatest ally. That came from comicbooks.com, so that probably came from Comic-Con. And then, of course, some comics we're getting. Dungeons of Doom. This is issue number 1. They showed the picture of that. So a new Doom comic that's following up the One World Under Doom storyline. And we're also getting a brand new Iron Man book, brand new Iron Man number 1, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Carmen Carnero. It's classic superhero storytelling in the mighty Marvel manner, just how you like it. Pre-order Iron Man number 1 at your local comic shop today, and stay tuned for more news about the series in the months ahead. So that was probably all shown at Comic-Con as well. But the news from, there's one more I have to mention. And this was mentioned to me, and I have not been able to read it yet. But something is killing the children, or someone is killing the children. I don't know the exact title of this, but someone from the pod here told me to check this out. I haven't been able to because I don't have it in an app or anything like that, but now I'm definitely going to have to, because now there's something is killing the children is the name of it. And now there is a DC crossover with Swamp Thing, whom I love and have read comic books with him in Constantine and comic books. I love Swamp Thing. Then there's been movies of him, of course, that I've seen them all, a TV series that I've seen, and now this is crossing over with Something is Killing the Children, and they're calling it Swamp Thing is Killing the Children. So that is very interesting to me. I'm definitely going to have to check that out. All right, but this is the stuff that came from the TV stuff from Marvel. So Daredevil. So Charlie Cox, the actor, was there, and they showed the Daredevil trailer from Daredevil Born Again. They got to see it, and it did leak online. So if you don't want the spoilers, don't look for it, but it did indeed leak online. So this was some of the cool news. First of all, they showed him in his Born Again outfit, which is the black Daredevil outfit. And it said Brand Winderbaum confirms that Daredevil Born Again team is communicating with the Spider-Man Brand New Day crew. It says, yeah, we are communicating a lot with the team on Spider-Man Brand New Day to make sure that there's coherence there. We don't want to spoil anything, but it very much exists in the same world, and it is important. So that's cool. Listen, people will go over the moon if Daredevil ends up in Spider-Man Brand New Day at somehow. We have seen... Of course, Charlie Cox has been in the Spider-Man films. So this is, people just want to see this. And it's just a logical crossover. Daredevil's been in many Spider-Man books over the years and vice versa. So it's just something that people want to see. And it does seem like they are going to do something there. Now, there are no spoilers, obviously, but, yet, but we'll see. Now, a lot of the Marvel TV stuff, we finally got a Wonder Man trailer. So it's kind of a little off the beaten path. It looks as if there's going to be some humor in it, some comedy in it. But if you haven't seen it, it is out, so go check it out. And that has now been moved. So it is not in December. Remember, I was saying, I'm shocked we didn't get a trailer yet. Well, they're moving it. I think it's been moved to either January or February of next year. So it's going to be in 2026. But it looks interesting. I'm definitely intrigued by the way it looks. And it's being done by Daniel Destin Cretton, who has done Shang-Chi and is also doing the new Spider-Man film. So I don't know. It looks interesting to me. I'm intrigued by the trailer. So I will definitely check it out for sure. And then we got news about the, of course, Vision Quest, which is coming also next year. And it says confirmed characters that will appear in Vision Quest. White Vision, of course. Tommy Maximoff, of course, is Speed. The actor is the same one that's played him before. That goes to show you how much they've aged since. Ultron, James Spader is confirmed. Jocasta, the actress that playing her has already been announced. Paladin, Jarvis, Friday, Dumb E, and Edith. So all of the characters that were around with Stark and the Stark technology are all going to be in this as well. And then, of course, it says Rurad Rareed Mullica will officially be playing Wanda and Vision's speedster son Tommy in the upcoming Vision Quest series. He is the kid who Billy Maximoff resurrected in episode 8 of Agatha All Along. So, and he's older now, of course. So he will be in that series. So that is some of the Marvel news. And then, of course, the Daredevil panel that showed the trailer also got a surprise appearance from Kristen Ritter, who is Jessica Jones and is definitely also going to be in Daredevil Born Again. She's in the trailer, and she made an appearance there to the the audience, of course, roared when she walked up on stage. So that's very cool. And, of course, Kingpin's in it. Punisher will probably be in it, although he's going to have his own little one-off special like they did with Werewolf by Night. Probably they were showing how he escapes from Kingpin's jail that we last see him in. So yeah. We'll get back to the MCU minute, but very quickly, I told you I was going to talk to you guys a quick sneak preview, which I had forgotten. But this, of course, is the Weapon X preview, and just some of the cards we're going to get real quickly. And I'll go over this more with Lauren Whatevs. So make sure you listen to the pod that I do with Lauren Whatevs, which is coming this Tuesday. We have a card called Adamantium Infusion. On reveal, revive your highest power destroyed card here with its power doubled. We have a card called Chamber, 2/3. Activate +2 power for each 5 cost or higher card you have here and in hand. We have Wade Wilson, Deadpool prior to being Deadpool. When destroyed, replace this with a 1 cost card from your hand or deck with +1 power. He is a 2/2. These are all December's cards. We have Wild Child. Looks like somebody close to Sabretooth or I don't exactly know this character. Ongoing, +4 power if you discarded a card. So good discard card. +4 power if one of your cards has been destroyed. This is going to be like a discard and destroy season, I believe. We have Weapon H, who is a 7/14. It looks like the Hulk combined with Wolverine. When discarded, put this back with -2 cost. So you must discard him. He's kind of like Khonshu in that way. But if he gets discarded, he's going to be a 5/14. So he's a big boy. Then we have Maverick. Maverick is a 3/3. Activate, give the next card you play power equal to this card's power. So he's a 3/3. You have the Fastball Special, which we all know is Colossus throwing Wolverine. If you didn't know that. It's been in the comics. It's even been in the old X-Men movies, the Fox movie. It happened once where Colossus threw him. On reveal, destroy your highest power card here to afflict an enemy card here with that much negative power. So that's kind of cool. So we're getting that. That's probably going to be in like Sanctum Showdown or something like that where we'll get that card. And then we have Marrow is a 2/3. When discarded or destroyed, so you see the theme, randomly split -6 power among enemy cards. So a lot of stuff for toxic decks. We have Aurora. Aurora is a 6/5. On reveal, give one of your other on reveal cards at each location +2 power. Repeat for ongoing, activate, and end of turn. Damn. Wow, that's a really good card. We have Phantom X, a 4/6. Activate if you've had cards discarded and destroyed. Afflict front row enemy cards at each location with -2 power. So a lot of affliction. And then we've got Lockheed, who is, of course, the dragon of... Oh, my God. Oh, what is her name? Oh, I'm going to have to look it up because I can't remember. Is it Kitty? Is it Kitty Pryde that has Lockheed? I can't remember. But anyway, so we have Lockheed coming, and we have Xiao Lao, the Undying, who is the dragon in Shang-Chi. So they're just it's just a quick preview of that, because I promised you I was going to talk about that real quickly in the spin, which I did not. Now I have to look this up. Where is Lockheed? Lockheed's like a little mini dragon. Magic. Okay, so he's Magic's pet. So he will be coming too. So it looks like we're going to get, might be just a dragon season, because they also mentioned Fin Fang Foom. So it looks like we're getting a dragon season, and that's probably our next one coming in January. Okay. All right. Let's see if there's any other MCU news really quickly here, and then we'll get to the end. I promise. This is a long one. I'm sorry, guys. But let's get to MCU news. Blade star. So we're back to Blade news. Mahershala Ali gives update on whether they are still a part of the MCU's most troubled movie. Attempts to bring Blade have become the stuff of legend, but for all the wrong reasons. Having originally been announced at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019, the movie starring Mahershala Ali as the Daywalker vampire hunter has been through several writers and directors without any real movement. However, it seems that despite the film's status in limbo, actress Maya Goth is still down to play in the Marvel sandbox when the movie finally gets in gear. While speaking to Elle ahead of the release of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which she's in, although it looks good, by the way, I saw the trailer, was asked about the potential involvement in Blade and is still very much on board with appearing whenever it happens. After briefly confirming that she is still attached to the movie, reportedly in the villain role of Lilith, she added, "It's for the best that it's taken the time that it has. They want to do it right." This is something Kevin Feige has also reiterated when questioned several times about what exactly is happening with Blade in July. Feige told the press, "We didn't want to put a leather outfit on him and have him start killing vampires. You can start and have a good script and make it a great script through production, but we didn't feel confident we could do that on Blade. We didn't want to do that to Mahershala Ali and didn't want to do that to us." So, some news anyway about Blade and why it's taken such a long time to get on board or to get going. Avengers Doomsday Phase 4 star hints at screen time with Magneto and Professor X. This is from the direct. So let's see who they're talking about. Shang-Chi star Simu Liu teased that he has scenes with Avengers Doomsday with Sir Patrick Stewart's Professor X and Ian McKellen's Magneto. So that's cool. I mean, we kind of all knew that they were going to be there. We just didn't know who's going to be with them. Marvel Avengers Doomsday, Tom Holland's role gets wild. Spider-Man reportedly set for a small Doomsday part before becoming Secret War's leading star. Future in the MCU just got a lot more interesting thanks to tantalizing new rumor that has fans buzzing with excitement. This is from the Next 25, it's called. According to industry insiders, the beloved web-slinger will play vastly different roles across the next two Avengers blockbusters, potentially setting up one of the biggest character arcs in MCU history. The rumor, which originated from entertainment outlet Heroic Hollywood, suggests Holland will make a relatively brief appearance in Avengers Doomsday before stepping into the spotlight as the leading protagonist of Avengers Secret Wars. If true, this would represent a major evolution for the character who has already appeared in 6 MCU films since his development in Captain America Civil War. Marvel fans immediately noticed something peculiar when Disney revealed the Avengers Doomsday cast that Holland was nowhere to be found. However, Kevin Feige offered hope when he clarified that the announcement included many but not all of the actors. The rumored explanation for Holland's absence from the initial announcements make perfect sense if Doomsday's role is indeed minimal. Holland's trajectory from being a supporting player to leading man beautifully aligns with character development of the business logic and of course, Spider-Man. Start small in Doomsday before becoming choice to make Doctor Doom the primary antagonist. Rumors suggest Marvel recognizes Holland's values, both the performer. All right, so it's basically just saying what many people had thought anyway. Lawrence Fishburne coming out and saying he wants to play Charles Xavier in MCU's version of the X-Men. That'd be cool. I'd be all right with that. A little bit of a character change up. And Fishburne's a great actor. I mean, he was awesome in The Matrix. So that's about it. Really, the big stuff was the stuff that happened at Comic-Con, and really looking forward to Daredevil Born Again. I think this is going to be awesome, having Jessica Jones back in it, and Foggy Nelson supposedly back there. Karen is back in there. Kingpin, of course, is the main villain, and if it's crossing over with Spider-Man, when they initially said no, that wasn't going to happen, that's going to be very, very, very cool. So, all right, we're going to get to Dazzlers Lyric Challenge, and we're going to end this sucker. We're already over 2 hours. Sorry for the length. I appreciate all of you listening and sticking with it until the very end. And again, please leave me comments, send me some questions, send me stuff for the DJ request line. I'd very, very greatly appreciate that. And tune in. Like I said, I do have two videos coming to the channel, one with my guest Burb and one with Lauren Whatevs. So make sure you check those out on my YouTube channel. Head over there right now, subscribe, like the videos, leave me comments over there. That helps them be seen and all that good stuff. So I would very, very much appreciate it. So check those out. And the future guests, of course, that I will have coming up afterwards. Kier Nimbus is coming up as well, on there also. So yeah, make sure and check that out. And I, of course, am a part of the Snap Judgments League of podcasts, along with some other awesome podcasts, such as Snap on This with Lauren Whatevs, who will be on my show. It's Just Re and Benjamin Roller. That is out every single Friday. They just had their episode with Title Tussle, which is a very fun game to listen to them play. They try to guess which titles are real and fake in Marvel Snap. I'm sure those guys will be going over a lot of things as well, and of that stuff that's going down. Of course, they talk about the new card every week and much, much more. So go check them out. And of course, the Snap Judgments pod with Glazer and Roy and all of his awesome guests that he has on there. Check that out also. So, all right, we're going to do the lyric for the week, and I'm going to give you a music recommendation. My recommendation for this week is a band that I've been listening to, like I said, since COVID now, and they are one of my favorite bands to listen to. I have all their albums on Apple Music and stuff, but that is the Midnight. If you like synthwave, if you know what it is, it's very retro, very 80s. Check it out. It is just amazing music if you're into that kind of stuff, and the Midnight are one of the best. I haven't been able to see them live yet. I really want to get to do so. But their newest album is out right now, and it is an absolutely amazing album. They have not disappointed in any of the albums that I've heard from them, and this one is just absolutely stellar. So again, my friend Elevate the Sky Scott does synthwave music as well. Now, he's venturing out a little bit into different territory, but he is another just amazing artist that is doing this stuff right now. So obviously, give Scott some love. Check out his stuff. He posts on Facebook. He puts all of his stuff out there, and he's doing some really great stuff. So check him out on YouTube also. But the Midnight is just absolutely fantastic. And let me pull up their newest album here. And of course, they have an official website that you can check them out at, where they sell merch and their albums and all that kind of stuff. And Their newest studio album is called Syndicate. It just released on October 3rd. You can get it via digital download, streaming, or on vinyl from their shop, I believe. They also have a live album out, but these guys are tremendous. Absolutely amazing. And go check them out. They are one of the bands that I have been listening to. If I were a DJ today, I would love to be a synthwave DJ on a station, radio station somewhere, something like that. I would love it. Would definitely be a genre that I would be playing, because there's so many good bands. Gunship's another one that I love. Just doing amazing work, and these bands are absolutely tremendous. So, all right, we're gonna get to the lyric for this week. I'll try not to make it so hard, because I know the last one was tough. The last one was tough. All right. I'm going to do another one of my favorites. And this, I think, should be a pretty easy one. Now, this is an older song. I want to say, you can hear me typing on my iPad. I want to say it's from the 70s, I think. Yeah, early 70s. All right, here we go, guys. This is one of my favorite artists who I started to kind of get to know him. Oh, I gave it away. Well, it's anyway, singer. I started to get to know this artist in like the later 70s, early 80s, and really in the mid 80s, and started to buy a lot of the albums. So, okay, here we go. I think this is going to be an easy one, but here we go. Well, we got no choice. All the girls and boys making all that noise because they found new toys. We can't salute ya. Can't find a flag. If that don't suit ya, that's a drag. There you go. That is Dazzlers Lyric Challenge for the week. I think this should be a pretty easy one from way back in the 70s, but it is so popular and still very popular at a particular time of the year today. So that is Dazzlers Lyric Challenge. You want that no prize, you gotta give me the answer. So whether you give it to me on the podcast itself in the comments, Spotify, Apple, whatever, leave me a comment with it. You can hit me up on Twitter, my Discord, Snap Judgments Discord, wherever. And hit me up with a comment, Blue Sky as well. And you too can win a famous no prize. Whether that might be a Spider-Man no prize, might be a Black Panther no prize, or maybe it's a Hulk no prize. But you will get the famous no prize. All right, guys. That is it for me for this week. I know this went on a long one, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about. I will be back to do probably a very quick OTA review pod, which is usually about 20 minutes or so. So I will get that out on Thursday. What is today? Today's Tuesday. So in 2 days, we will get the OTA. I will get that out via audio on Thursday for a quick review of the OTA that comes out. And then, of course, I will have Burb with me, joining me on the YouTube channel. And I will have Lauren Whatevs joining me on the YouTube channel as well. Lauren's will be after this audio pod next Tuesday, because I will do that during the day. And so I'll have two things that will come out. Will be the audio pod, and then Lauren Whatevs joining me on the YouTube channel on Tuesday. And then Burb will be out this weekend, and that will I'll probably release it same day. I'm going to take some time to release the audio portion of them. They will always be on audio as well as YouTube, but I'll take a little bit of time to release the audio version of Lauren's because try to have some people give my YouTube channel some love first. So, all right, guys, that is it for me. for this episode of Snap Decisions. Thank you so much for listening. Wherever you may listen to the pod, whether it be Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever, I appreciate you doing so and taking the time out of your week to check out my podcast. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always. And enjoy Snap, however you might enjoy it. And hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off. Have a great week, everybody.